Welcome to episode 3 of Strangest Strings, the string instrument show and tell series. And this week I'll be showing you the Bulbul Tarang. So this is an Indian instrument from Punjab. The name means waves of nightingales. That's named this because of the sound it makes. It's got a bunch of melody strings all tuned to the same note, which is believed to sound like nightingales. It's probably the most poetically named of the instruments I own. If you compare it to, for example, the oud, which means wood, this is a bit more of a poetic name. So the way the instrument works, I hold it up again. So it's basically a kind of box zither. So you've got strings here that you strum, and the keyboard presses those strings down. So you need to strum to maintain the sound. So then you can change the note with the keyboard. And right now there's 5 melody strings, but there's space up here at the peg end for 7. I just haven't restrung it with extra strings. And you also have on either side of these melody strings drone strings, which at the moment I have the drones tuned to C, or I have the whole thing tuned to a C. And when you press down the keys, the drone strings don't change note. So you get that droning C underneath the whole time you're playing. So it's kind of like an acoustic keytar. And in terms of the tuning, I have it right now tuned to C in both the drones and the melody strings, just to match the keyboard, but you can tune it to basically any note you like. So I think it's normally tuned to the voice of a singer, so the singer might be playing along with their own singing or be accompanied by someone else playing the Bulbul Tarang. And you can also tune these melody strings in octaves. I prefer to use the unison tuning because it keeps the intonation a bit more coherent. So when you play the higher notes, you get the same note, rather than if you have octaves, the intonation might change the octave note quite a bit relative to the lower one. And then for these drone strings, you can tune them in octaves or unison, as I've got here, or in fifths. So in a lot of Indian classical and I guess folk music as well, they have a fixed fifth. So the fifth is always a perfect fifth above the tonic. So you can reliably use that fifth and know that it's going to be in the scale. So it's basically the Indian version of the Nagoya harp or Taishōgoto, which is known in Japan. And these instruments probably kind of descended from the box zithers that are common in Europe, which again probably originated from the Middle East or Mesopotamia initially. So yeah, the way that the instrument functions is quite similar, I guess, to an instrument like the Swedish nyckelharpa or the hurdy-gurdy. So both of those instruments, you have melody strings which are changed, the pitch changed by a keyboard, and then drone strings. And those instruments also have sympathetic strings which resonate while you're playing. There's a similar instrument called the Shahi Baja, another Indian instrument. This is basically the same as the Bulbul Tarang, except it tends to have resonant strings like the nyckelharpa and hurdy-gurdy. So you could actually probably attach resonant strings to this if you wanted to. For example, like if you put some strings underneath these melody strings across the sound hole, that could probably work. So the main difference between this and, say, a nyckelharpa or hurdy-gurdy is that you pluck the strings, or for example with your hand or with the guitar pick, you strum the strings rather than bowing them. However, I have got a bow here, and you can bow the instrument and it gives a kind of similar sound to what you'd get from a nickel harper. In terms of this specific instrument, it's got a brand name here, Shud Sangeet, and it says Golden Deer. And I bought this from Facebook Marketplace, which has been a bit of a treasure trove of weird instruments if you look frequently enough. This one was 45 Australian dollars, which is about 25 to 30 euro or US dollars. I ended up paying 50 for it just because I didn't want to bother with the extra change. And I think it was a pretty good deal regardless. So it plays pretty well. Some of the keys stick a little bit, but would probably be pretty easy to fix if I wanted to. When I first bought it, some of the notes also weren't playing because there were still broken strings attached to the pegboard, but I just had to kind of pry them out from under the keyboard and take them off, and yeah, it plays a lot better since I did that, and since I changed the string tuning as well. I think ideally, since some of these were tuned an octave higher, they're probably a bit loose at the moment, the melody strings, so I think the ideal key would probably be a bit higher, something like F or G rather than C. But yeah, it plays pretty well right now, and it's the kind of instrument that if you know how to play a piano, you can pretty much play this. You just play with your left hand because your right hand's doing the strumming. So yeah, like I said, kind of like an acoustic guitar. So yeah, to give a demo, I'll play a song called Morni. So this is a song from the Himachali region in India. I didn't know any songs from Punjab, but this is a nearby region.